Hey guys, Ronin here. Welcome on back to the Retrocade. We are soldiering on with our first time playthrough of the 1994 Super Nintendo Entertainment System, a classic Japanese role-playing game, Final Fantasy VI. Get the usual housekeeping out of the way. Leave a like, hit the subscribe button if you are new, and ring the bell for the latest content. Also be sure to check out our special Sports Saturday and Sucker Punch Sunday features. Every Saturday I will choose a sports-based game at random across the golden age of video game history, the 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th generations. And we will play a classic fighting game or fighting platform game on Sundays. If there is a game that you would like to see profiled here on the Retrocade, be sure to leave it down in the comments below. You are free to choose any game, and I mean any game, from the Nintendo Entertainment System, the Super Nintendo, Sega Master System, Sega Genesis, Neo-Geo, Nintendo 64, PlayStation 1, and PlayStation 2. And I mean, seriously, even if you want me to play a game as universally maligned as, like, Superman for the N64, I'll give it a fair shot. Why? I've never played it before. I don't know how truly bad it is. I can't guarantee it'll be a fun episode to play, and I can't guarantee it'll be one that won't have an explicit marker on it. But if that's one you want me to try out, I will give it a whirl. So, leave those down in the comments below. When I last left you here, not too long ago, which is why I still do 2 shows a week, we are back here at Figaro Castle with our party of Mash the Monk, Gal the Wild Boy, Locke the Thief, and Edgar the Knight. And we just had a long cutscene explaining what had been going on with Mash while he had been gone from the castle for so long. I forgot we could come down here to the basements, but I don't think there's anything else down here we need to worry about. We've been down here before. There doesn't seem anything new. Although there's a kobold-looking guy over here. I wonder if that's something I can get him to talk. I'm the Great Thief Lone Wolf, okay? Well, that doesn't help me. Well, except Edgar's in the party, and he's not really interested in anything you have to say, so. Let's see what else we got. There are many orders this month. If it is your wish, I can take the castle beyond the northern mountain range. Okay. So we need him to carry us to Korlingen, and that's exactly what we need to do. So he's going to fire up the castle, and that's where we're going. So in the meantime, I do have some questions that have been broached to me by viewers of the channel. Again, thank you very much for your patronage. I did a couple last week, but this one is, what is the hardest video game you've ever played, or what is the one game that you wanted to finish but never could? Oh my. Well, my first inclination is to say Metroid. And I mean the original Metroid. I remember when Metroid first came out back in, I think it's 85, 86. And it was a game that, like most of us of that era... Are they going to let me be able to go through here? No, I don't think they are. They're not. Okay. So we need to head north. But anyway, Metroid was the first real open-world game that I remember for the Nintendo Entertainment System. And even though it was a 2D side-scrolling platform game, it was truly wide open. There was nothing that you really could not go to in that game. And I remember very distinctly when I got my Nintendo Entertainment System, rather than getting one that had the, hey, look who's here. We meet again. But this time he wants to be left alone. Alright, well, I will leave him alone. Yeah, we've met. That he is, but he's got a really nice dog. But when I got my Nintendo Entertainment System as a kid, rather than get the Zapper and the old Rob and all that stuff, I got the version that came with Super Mario Brothers 1. Or no, it didn't even come with that. I wasn't even fortunate enough to get it. This Monster of Light came out and burned it to the ground as it flew past. It sounds like Tina was here. What it did come with, and it's something that I still have to this day, is it had a book called the Nintendo Player's Guide. And the Nintendo Player's Guide was awesome if you were learning how to play most of these games. Oh, and hey, we have Shadow back in the party. So I could get, well, I can't afford to get a Mithril Shield. What else do we have? Headband. Alright, nothing of major impact here. But I have played the... hell out of Metroid my whole life, and I have never beaten it. And in the Nintendo Player's Guide, it gave you the full map of the planet that you could go through. It showed you where every item was, it showed you where every enemy was, it showed you where every boss was. Even with that, I've still never been able to beat Metroid, the original one. Now, there is a code that you could get that I remember seeing in the pages of Nintendo Power that gave you... Ooh, okay. Makes the user invisible used via the throw command. Alright, so this is stuff I need to get when I get Shadow back in the party. Damage all enemies with flame, with water, thunder. Okay, because it's Raijin. But there was a famous code that they gave you. It was called the Justin Bailey code. And you were able to get... pretty much at the end of that game. And even at the end of that game, I couldn't beat it. Trying to get through Mother Brain and all that, just... Ooh, and now we get a little bit of backstory on Locke. So she tries to save Locke, and then the bridge gives way, and she plummets potentially to her doom. And he was able to find her. But she has amnesia. And he gets thrown out. So this is where Locke is from. And because of that, he decides he needs to move. So he moves on. Injured during an attack by the Empire. Memory returned just before she died. So our boy here is dealing with some serious survivor's guilt. And understandably so. And when you think about it in games like this, it's not something you would expect to have these sorts of storylines in a role-playing game. He has ghosts living under his house. Alright, well, I'll go check him out. Where's is there a way to get over there from here? Nope, I gotta go the other way. But I find it amusing that Nintendo Power, in their review of this game, did say that the storyline wasn't all that creative or wasn't as interesting as it could have been. Because, again, this was written for a Japanese audience as opposed to an American audience. Wait a minute. So that's Rachel. Safe from death, and that would have claimed her otherwise. If you find some way to revive her, you'll pull it off. So Rachel is not... She is only mostly dead. Which makes me wonder if Edgar's going to go through her clothes and look for loose change. But now that explains why there is a ghost living under the house. Because there is a shell of a person who used to be there. Flew south towards Jador, okay. Did he say south? He did fly south, okay. So we know Shadow's in there. Lives up north by himself and says that he's dreams of making a coliseum. Can't go around these. These are all stumps. This is where Tina burned the house to the ground. Did she use the lemons? She seems like the sort of person who could create a combustible lemon that would burn their house to the ground. But now we gotta go north. And we have vultures. Okay. Well, enjoy 10,000 volts. Ow. Ooh, that was harsh. That should take that bird out. Nope. But there's Mash on cleanup detail. Anyway, getting back to the original question of what was the hardest game I've ever played, or the game I had wanted to finish but never did, Metroid is definitely up there. I recently started playing Diablo 1 for the PlayStation 1, because I managed to get a copy of it way back in the day, and I converted it to my emulator so I could potentially play it here on the channel at a later date. I may have to rethink that, only because I forgot how unbelievably merciless that game is. And I have played every variation of Diablo, and I know Diablo 4 is in the works as we speak, but there was a time when I really enjoyed playing Diablo 1, and I was pretty good at it. I actually have beaten it, but man, that thing just absolutely destroys you now. It's not even funny. Okay, there's supposed to be somebody here. There he is. Come here, old man. The present world has become much too docile. Humans shine through the clearest when they're in combat. Nobody's willing to help me build my Coliseum where the aesthetics of fighting can truly be celebrated. It's just outrageous. Okay, well. Okay. Well, got a brave ring. What does this do? Raises physical and magical damage. Alright. Well, since none of my current foursome are magic users, I'm going to hold off on that, but I should heal up some people really fast. Alright. So now it looks like I need to go back south. And head towards that town that the guy in Collingen mentioned. Actually, I'm going to do that. Oh, I can't. I can't leap with him. I figured I'd take the opportunity to be able to let Gal learn a few more skills, but he hasn't done it yet. So yeah, the original Metroid is a game that at some point, that is still my white whale that I will find a way to get from start to finish. One of my housemates is a big Metroid fan, and he's played the majority of them. I don't even think he's beaten the original one. Or if he did, it was a long time ago. And Diablo just about made me rage quit. It was insane just how much I was getting my butt handed to me. Because the thing about Diablo is that it's a randomly generated dungeon. It was the first one of the first, I should say, games that had that ability to create a randomly generated dungeon. And I got to a point where I hit a new area and was immediately overwhelmed by an entire legion of enemies. Like, they took me out right away. And you have to chip away at them to get them to whittle the forces down. And as soon as I did, I was like, great, sweet, now I can carry on. And as soon as I did, I went like 10 feet and got completely enveloped by another horde of the same type of baddies. And they devoured me. So it's one where you're just like, really? Really? We're going to do this? Yeah, we're going to do this. And again, I have played Diablo 2. I own and have played and beaten Diablo 3. The first one is still unrelentingly merciless. And then there are some games that I've played that are just... they're hard because that's the way they were designed. You know what? I'm going to come back in here really quick because I want to see if there's other stuff. Yeah, I've got 5100 gil. See if there's other things that I can... there's got to be a way I can get to something to buy stuff. Alright, so head over this way. Like, I have played games where the controls were so bad that it just makes... it makes the entire experience harder than it needs to be. It makes it a lot more unpleasant. And like, my first Nintendo game that I got wasn't Super Mario Brothers, and it wasn't even Legend of Zelda. The first game that I got that came with it when I got the system for my birthday was Konami's Top Gun, which, me being a huge aviation freak, and again, being the early mid 80s. The movie had just come out and everybody loved it, and it was, you know, it was very much in the zeitgeist of the time. But then I played the game, and it was brutal. And 8-bit flight simulator games back in the day weren't ever gonna be the most user-friendly to begin with. However, this one was just... It was a chore. I watched somebody do a long playthrough of it recently. And... Okay, there are no shops here. I thought there would be. Anyway. It's funny thinking about it as an 8-year-old kid, 8, 9, 10, and remembering that I had the ability to get through those levels and navigate through that game a lot easier than I can now as a... I mean, say... Not unkind to say a middle-aged guy. My reflexes have taken a slight dip. And I think that'll be the kindest way to put it. But when I was also trying to figure out which game I was going to start playing to start this channel with, you know, I did a couple of test runs on various games, and across the 8-bit and the 16-bit, you know, it's you forget with modern controllers, and like I'm playing this game using my SNES emulator and a generic Xbox One controller. And an Xbox One controller has 2 joysticks, a D-pad, 4 main buttons, and 4 auxiliary buttons on the shoulders. Okay. When the Nintendo Entertainment System came out, it was A button, B button, select, start, D-pad. When the Super NES came out, it was a huge deal because it was the first time we had shoulder buttons on it. So all of a sudden you had a left and a right button, and it was, oh my god, what are the possibilities you can do with a game like, or with this sort of controller? Conversely, you would have systems like the Genesis, which, as I demonstrated on Saturday, the graphics were great, but it was not unusual. Ow. To find yourself in a scenario where when you have a D-pad and 3 buttons, A, B, and C, that you just got flustered. Because the controls would be awful. Depending on the game. Alright, let's take this bird out. I need to heal up. You know, it's funny, we take modern, and it's like most other things, and again, this is not me being a grumpy old man, get off my virtual lawn sort of thing. It's just kind of the nature of technology and progress where you do inevitably start taking these sorts of innovations for granted. You know, like, I didn't have a Nintendo 64 growing up, but I know I've talked to people who did, and as innovative as that console was, the way the control pad was designed was very hit or miss depending on the game. Like, I remember trying out Super Mario World, or Super Mario 64, I should say, and having the ability to manipulate the camera and see where you can manipulate everything. So, oh my god, That was heinous. He hit us for 1,100 gil. Alright, 1,100 damage in that. That was vicious. Alright, so because he is... I'm not sure why he's flying. Cast Protect. But because he's flying, he can't leap. Which means he can't learn all this stuff. I do think that's why also when I start switching over to different games on different systems, why it takes me a while to get used to it again. But it also can't help but expose... There we go. Ah! The deficiencies in most of these games as far as controls and maneuverability and everything that went into... Oh, that sucked. So if we try and poison the motor driver, that actually healed him. But you think back to when a lot of these games were designed and what all was available for being able to make each character do what you wanted them to do. You know, it's crazy in some aspects. Ooh, okay. So we have Shinobi Gear, which is going to help these three. Except Mithril Plate's going to help everybody. So now I feel like a bit of a bark for getting the... But I wonder if we can go around to the back and get that treasure chest. Well, lower class people were driven out of our town. They gathered up in the mountains to the north and founded their own town, which is probably Korlingen. But getting back to my point, when game companies and game designers got it right, which it seems like they did with games like this, and there's a strew of games across its history that demonstrated exactly what happens when you get the right team with the right coders and the right programmers at the right time and what they're able to create. You know, that's why when Super Mario Brothers came out for the Nintendo almost 40 years ago now, it was a huge thing because they got it right. And when you get it right, it's amazing. But when you get it wrong, oh my. So actually, the Shinobi Gear is better for these guys than the plate armor. So maybe it was better that I did get it. And then giving him the Mithril Plate will help. And then I can give my other armored characters the mithril plate, and that'll help out as well. So, alright, so I'm going to do a little bit of quick shopping here. Get rid of these. Whoops, see what they've got. Okay, so that'll help him. The Kaiser Knuckle will help Mash, so I definitely need that. The Kodachi will help. But everything else is good to go. So, how much does the Kaiser Knuckle help? Alright, pumps up to 109. That will definitely give him a bit more oomph in the fight. And as we are at 30 minutes, we will go ahead and wrap it up here. So we've covered a bit more ground. And in the next episode, I guess we will find out more about what's happening down here in Jador. And carry onward with our first time playthrough of Final Fantasy VI. So, as always, please leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and ring the bell for the latest content. Also, if there is a game you would like to see featured here on the Retrocade in the future, leave it down in the comments below. And your options, as always, are from the Nintendo Entertainment System, Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, Sega Master System, Neo-Geo, Nintendo 64, PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2. Be sure to check out Sports Saturday and Sucker Punch Sunday, our special sports and fighting game-based features for the weekend. And as always, my name is Ronin. Have a great week wherever you may be in the wide world, and I will talk to you guys on Wednesday. Bye!